Hi, I'd like to talk to you about the supply and demand curve. First of all, let's talk about the demand curve. And let's assume we have 5 buyers, 5 sellers. So let's draw let me get my pen up here. Let's draw our 5 buyers. Oops, there we go, finally. And I'm going to draw my buyers in green. I have to spend a little bit of money on this product. It's supposed to be ahead. Here's 1 buyer, 2 buyers. Let's attach his leg there. 3 buyers, 4 buyers, and 5 buyers. Now they have different prices they're willing to pay. The first buyer is willing to pay up to $400, no more. If it's a $400 and just one more penny, he's not going to buy any. And that's one of the things the demand curve shows, is the maximum price somebody's willing to pay. So let's say this one's 300, 200. Let's be very creative and just go straight down. 200, 100, and 0. So 400, so not right under them, but it's close. Now in red, let's draw our sellers. These are our buyers. There's our buyers. In red, I'm going to put our sellers over here on the other side of the page. 1 seller, 2 sellers, 3 sellers. We're going to assume there's 5 sellers maximum right now, unless we have entry, but we're not going to have entry. We're going to keep it simple. There's our 5 sellers. They look pretty happy over there. Kind of faceless, but that's okay. And let's assume they would need at least something. So the person who's got the lowest cost is willing to pay or sell it for $50. No less, $49.95. No, but give him $50, he'd be willing to sell you the product. And so there's our first 150, and then let's just say 100, 200, 200, come on, 300, and let's assume the most expensive one is 400. It could jump up, but we're just trying to keep the numbers kind of simple. And now let's draw our curve. And so notice buyers, that's the maximum amount they're willing to pay. Sellers, that's the minimum amount they're willing to accept. And here, let's write our sellers over here. And then let's draw our curve right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, and this is quantity. And then they're willing to go up to $400. So let's say this is 100, 200, 300, and 400. And this is the maximum price. So and let's go to our green curve. I'm going to put our buyers in green right here. So for this first one right here, he's willing to, here's our, let's put it in red. So he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 400, 300, 200, and 100. There we have it. Yay. And we're going to put them in green. So that 1 and 400, we're going to put a spot right there. Dot for this one right here. 2 and 300, we're going to put a dot right here. Where that's he's willing to pay. And we could just draw lines over, but I want to keep it a little bit cleaner. 3 and 200, looks like a line right about there. So take 200 and 3 units. Because now we have the first one's willing to pay at 400. Now we have these 2 willing to buy it at 200. Then we have 3 of them willing to buy it at 200. At 100, it looks like we have these first 4 green little men or women. And right here, looks like, oops, I don't know where that came from. Come on. And then 1 at 500. Okay, I don't know why we're having a black box. Let's get rid of it though. There we go. And then there's 0. I'm just trying to draw a box. Come on. And there it is right there. And then if we draw this line if we can get through all of them, there's our demand curve. So there's demand. Now let's go to the supply curve. Our red line. So the first one says, I'm not going to do it. Got to give me $50. And I'm just going to. So there's 50. And then, so let's point right here. Right there. Come on. And we're going to make this line a little bit thicker. Just make it a little easier to see maybe. So first, so 100, we have 2. 200, we have the first 3 sellers. Oh wait, I did that wrong, didn't I? How silly of me. I drew my, trying to get rid of these little dots. Yeah, we don't, that's, for the second one, it's the first 2, right? So let's get rid of that little line right there. Put back on our pen, red. And for 50, it's not exactly 50, but here we have our 100. Then we have our 200, which actually is right there. Then our 300. So I'm trying 300 and 400. Right up. 400 is about right there. So not quite a straight line, but, and there's our supply curve. And over here, as we just mentioned, here's our demand curve. And as you can see, equilibrium, I'm going to do it in blue, looks right here at 203 units. So at $200, we have 3 buyers willing to buy the product. We also have 3 sellers willing to sell the product. So that would be, we would call that our equilibrium. Let's show our equilibrium by showing what's going to happen below. And in this case, let's see. Let's choose a price. Let's just use a gray line to show. Let's say we have a price of 100. At 100, notice at 100 right here, 4 people are willing to sell it. I'm sorry, 4 people want to buy it. So take the price over to the demand curve and you have how many people want to buy it. That looks like 4 right there. So buyers looks like at 100. We have all these first 4 buyers. This last one says, hey, I'm kind of cheap, or I just don't want it very much. If you give it to me for free, I'll buy it, but otherwise, no. So it's really just the 4 people. And on the other side, you have these 3 sellers. I'm sorry. So at 100, you have this person at 50, this person at 100. Now this person at 200 says, hey, unless you give me 200, I'm not going to sell it to you. And likewise, these 2 higher cost sellers. So at $100, we have the first 2 sellers willing to sell it. We have 4 buyers wanting to buy it. We have a shortage of 2 units. Well, if we can raise the price to 200, now we have 3 buyers willing to buy it. These 3 people are willing to pay the most. 3 sellers, the lowest cost. 3 sellers are willing to sell it, and we're back to equilibrium. If we have a price above equilibrium, such as at $300, well, only 2 people are willing to buy it. Here it is right here. And at $300, looks like we have 4 people willing to sell it, 4 sellers. This is the one who's willing to sell it for 50, the one who's willing to sell it 100, 200, and 300. So now at higher prices, we have a surplus up here and a shortage down here. I'll just call it shortage. And either case, at 300 we have a surplus of 2 units, shortage down here of 2 units. And that's at a shortage, price tends to go up. So let's draw a price going up. And that's how you get rid of a shortage. If people want to buy more than what's available, raise the price, get rid of the shortage. If there's a surplus of the product, people aren't willing to buy as much as what's available, lower the price, get rid of the surplus. And that's why we tend to go to equilibrium. There's also 3 things that the supply and demand curve show us? Number one, or let's start out with the supply, or rather, let's start out with the demand curve. And I'm going to put this in green again. Number one, it shows us is the maximum price sellers. I'm sorry, I keep wanting to put saying sellers. The demand curve shows the maximum price these buyers are willing to pay. That's how we showed you. They're not willing to pay any more than that. Number two, it shows them the amount they'll buy at a certain price. So amount they'll buy at a certain price. So at $400, we'll sell one. $300, these first two, we'll sell two. $200, we'll be able to sell three. And so here's 300, there's two. Take the 200 over to the demand curve down. There's three. 100 over to the demand curve down. People are willing to buy four. So you can look at it going vertically, how maximum amount they're willing to buy. You can look at it horizontally, how much are they willing to buy. And number three, it shows the marginal benefit. So this person's additional benefit, marginal means additional. So the demand curve shows the maximum, or I'm sorry, the additional value that he places. It's first person, additional value. He's willing to give up $400 worth of other stuff. Second one, his additional value is 300. Third one, additional value 200. Fourth one, additional value of 100. Notice we rank these from the person who values it the most down to the person who values it the least. Like this person is not willing to pay anything for it. And over here, the supply curve, number one, shows the minimum price. So this person, we already said, if it's below 50, he doesn't want it. If this one, or won't sell it to you rather, doesn't want to sell it. For the second one, got to give him at least $100. Second thing was it shows the amount they're willing to sell. At $50, we only have one seller. $100, we have two sellers. $200, we have people willing to sell. And we did it in sellers for 1 unit each, but people are willing to sell up to 1 unit. 100 up to 2 units, 200 up to 3 units, 300 up to 4 units. So notice we're just taking the price and going over to the supply curve and down, and that shows you the amount they're willing to sell. It also shows the marginal cost. So we have the marginal benefit over here. This is the marginal cost. This person, additional cost of producing each unit is each unit is 50. Marginal cost at 2 units is 100. Marginal cost at 3 units, 200. So we're assuming people will not sell it below the additional cost of producing. Well, that means that this is the marginal benefit. This is the marginal cost. If somebody values it more than it costs to produce more. So keep on producing more until you get to 3, because the marginal cost is greater than the marginal benefit is greater than marginal cost. Well, here's the marginal cost up here, greater than the marginal benefit. Well, if it costs more than what people value it at, produce less. So this 3 additional benefits, 3 unit or additional benefits 200, additional cost is 200. We assume if the additional benefits equal to the additional cost, do it. Hope this helps. Thank you.